昨年アメリカ野球殿堂入りを果たした Cc サバシア氏が米番組ボードルームに出演。インタビューではここ数年でメジャーリーグ全体の注目度が再び高まっている背景について語るとともに、その中心にいる存在として大谷選手の名前を挙げ、かつて見たことのないレベルの活躍ぶりに驚嘆していました。見どころたっぷりの内容を日本語字幕付きでご紹介しますので、ぜひ最後までご覧ください。
Show, Cc. Thanks for coming on network, brother.
Of course, of course.
Fresh off the plane, right to the hotel room to talk to your guy. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. What, are you on a golfing trip this weekend?
Nah, I'm down here watching Carter. My 15-year-old's playing in the Perfect Game tournament this weekend. It's a big tournament. It's like the biggest one of the fall. So it's his first time playing. So I wanted to come down here and check him out.
Amazing, man. You've experienced everything in sports, but where does all of your accomplishments rank up against going to watch your sons play baseball and being a baseball dad?
It's I mean, they don't compare at all. You know what I mean? Like having a chance to be able to watch their journey. Carter loves to pitch, so that like drives me crazy. Like when he's on the mound, but he loves to do it. He has a lot of fun doing it. So it's fun for me to be able to like to now be a dad, be a baseball dad. I'm out there with my wagon. I got my chair. I got my fan. Like I got my iPad out there. I'm really into it. So it's a lot of fun to be able to kind of have this second chapter and really just be, you know, a baseball dad and be a dad. So I feel like I miss so much of my oldest guy that I don't want to miss nothing with my 15-year-old. So I'm everywhere with them.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. And you've got incredible kids. You know, I have heard you talk about it a bit, and just in working with you and working with the league, I think one of the things that has been a focus is trying to get like great homegrown talent out of America. What are you seeing at the grassroots level? Like, is there a bit more of a shift at all? Have you seen more participation and like a brighter future potentially for like American-born players?
Yeah, you know, honestly, when I was playing the game, I thought that like our kids weren't playing baseball. I thought that, you know, there was other interests, you know, football, basketball, all these other sports. But when I retired and you know, my 22-year-old now, he was 15 at the time, being able to go on the circuit with him and understanding and seeing how many kids are actually playing the game, you know, at a young age, it's just that 12 to 13-year-old age where, you know, other interests kind of peaks up and different things like that. But getting them from the small field, from the little league field to the big field is the hardest challenge. But once you have them like at 14, 15, and they're baseball players. So it's really about, you know, making that transition from, you know, some of those good or you know, marginal players on the little league field, getting them to the big field and having them understand like you're going to grow into being a great player, right? I feel like in baseball, so many good players are late bloomers. Like that kid that you knew that was the best kid in little league normally doesn't really grow anymore, right? Like he's just kind of stays stagnant. So I think kids need to be patient with baseball and understanding that, you know, it's like a lot of the stuff is going to come late as you get older and get bigger and understanding your body. So that's what I've been seeing with my 15-year-old, just watching him kind of ascend and get better each week. It's been really cool. And I think I would love for, you know, for kids to kind of stick with the game and understand that, you know, you get better in this game as you get older. So, but I'm encouraged by, you know, the work that we're doing with the Players Alliance, the work that we're doing in the commissioner's office with Cap. You know, if you even just look at like our MLB develops and how many kids that we've had come through our program now, you know, where we're taking kids to Vero Beach and Jackie Robinson Complex and putting our hands on them and you know, getting to them at a young age. So it's been great to be on that side of it. And I do think we have you know, it's going to be a surge of some really good, you know, American-born players coming here pretty soon.
And, you know, you just mentioned like your work in the commissioner's office and your work overall throughout the league. It feels like baseball, and I talked about this a few weeks past, like it feels like baseball overall has a different energy about it right now for a multitude of reasons. But what would you say? You know, I referenced a few things in a conversation I had about changes that were made to the league, about some of the young stars. But what do you think has started to turn the tide a bit? And do you also feel that energy around the sport now more so than it has been in a while?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm with you on that. Just, you know, I think the pitch clock is what's done it, and getting games back under 3 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I feel like I've seen a lot of families back at the ballpark during the middle of the week. Early in the season when school was still in, the ballparks was packed with kids. Normally, when that's a time when we really struggle until kids get out of school, but having to go into a ball game at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, knowing that the game's going to be over by 9:30, and the kids can be in bed to go to school, I think it's made a huge difference. I think it's made a huge difference for TV markets when I even me as a baseball fanatic and a baseball lifer, I would have to watch 2 or 3 games at a time. So now with the pitch clock, it's so much action that it's kind of made for TV now, and I feel like so many young stars that we have in the game. I mean, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger than we've ever been. You got Ellie De La Cruz and Paul Skeens and all these different superstars in the game. I mean, obviously Aaron Judge and Shohei Otani, but all the guys under that, all the superstars. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and I think, I think the biggest thing, and I think the biggest resurgence of why fans and why we have this energy around the game is because of the changes that we made. And I feel like baseball is always so scared to make changes, right? But in the NBA and the NFL, they make changes all the time, whether it's to quarterback play or for defenses, legal defenses in the NBA and all these different things. I feel like, I'm glad that we were able to make that change, and looking forward to the ABS for the challenge system next year. Just something that adds to the game experience for the fans, and I think it'll help out, player and league wide, getting that kind of that big miss right that Rob has been talking about.
Yeah, and are you guys always like, is it an ongoing conversation because of the success that some of the changes you made had? Is it an ongoing conversation at looking at other ways to innovate, or do you guys think you've kind of acknowledged the things that needed to be changed?
No, I think there's always room to improve, right? There's always room to improve the game. There's always, different ways. I think we do a good job of listening to the fans. The last couple of years we've been polling the fans and listening to what they want, and that's how we got the pitch clock. That's how we got ABS, all these different things. So, having the fan input along with the players, and I think that we could always, look to improve and look to, make our game better. For me, hopefully we don't settle on these, these couple of rule changes. Hopefully, we can keep going, keep expanding, add 2 more teams, make the playoffs easier for travel, do all the things that Rob is talking about before he's out of office.
Yeah. And you mentioned obviously like, any growth for a league comes with star power. And you mentioned the crop of young stars, and you mentioned Judge and Otani. Can you put in context as like a baseball historian, where Otani and Judge potentially sit in baseball historically?
Yeah, so no, I think when you look at Aaron Judge, you look at Shohei Otani. I think when you look at Aaron Judge, I mean, you're looking at the Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth or whoever you want to, throw that name out of this time. I mean, his OPS is 200 points higher, than the next guy, and he's out hitting the league by 70 points. The National League batting title winner, hit 304, and Judge is hitting 338 with 50. You know what I mean? And he missed a couple of weeks. So I just think the way he's out hitting everybody in a time when average and but putting the ball in play is not as highly regarded, and people don't really care to do it as much. I think you got to look at what he's doing, and with the way he's hitting, the way he controls the strike zone, and the way he can hit for power. I mean, he's out of this world. I mean, he's got to be one of the best, regular season baseball players of all time. And then for me, people got on me when I talked about Otani, and I saw him play 1 inning of 1 baseball game when I was still playing. And I looked at Luis Severino. I said, this is the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life. He's the biggest, he's the fastest, he's the strongest. He hits the ball the furthest. He throws the ball the hardest. Like, he is really, incredible. I mean, to have a season where you go 50-50 is really insane. And to be able to go out and throw 7 innings of no-hit or shutout baseball in the postseason, and, the things that he's done. I mean, there's nobody that, I mean, they like to compare him to Babe Ruth, but there's really nobody that you can compare Otani to.
That's crazy. And you guys did the games in Japan. Like, what is his level of stardom in Japan right now?
I mean, we were at Shibuya Crossing. We went there one night, and there was 18 different things that he was on it's basically Times Squares of Japan, of Tokyo. I mean, he's on bus stops. He's on, every billboard that you can name. And then we get back to the hotel, and there's like a tutorial on the hotel, and he's making pasta. Like, he's everywhere out there. But the thing about him is he shows up. He's on cue. Like, he had a home run in Tokyo Dome when we go to Japan. The first, at bat of the postseason, he goes deep. Like, he really shows up in these big moments, and it's just incredible to be able to watch him do his thing, man. I think we kind of take him for granted, but we're living in a time. I don't think there's going to be ever a player like him again. I mean, there may be guys that'll hit and pitch, but there won't be anybody that could do it at this level.
That's crazy. All right, before you get out of here, you mentioned Judge and Otani, so I assume that they would be 2 of the 5. But give me 5 players playing today that you would more or less call like surefire Hall of Famers.
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, it would be Giancarlo Stanton. I don't think we should. I don't want to put Kershaw and Verlander and Scherzer in there because they already their first ballot.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go. I'll go Judge, Otani, Big G. I think Mookie's a Hall of Famer, and I think Freddie Freeman will end up being in the Hall of Fame. But I think we talk about Judge and Otani. I think a lot of people don't talk about Stanton. Stanton's got 460 homers. Like anytime that guy plays a season, he hits 25 homers a year.
Yep.
So he's going to end up with 500-something homers. So he'll end up in Cooperstown, which I think it'll be great. And I would love to see Freddie Freeman, get 3,000 hits. And, he's just been such a, great, player for the game and, just a model student, citizen. So I would love for him to be able to get in the Hall of Fame too.
All right. Well, when they get there, they'll have to come see you, brother, because you're up there. Congratulations, man. I appreciate you getting on with me, man. I love catching up with you, talking baseball, talking life. I'll catch up with you soon. I appreciate it.
最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。今回の動画についてどういう感想を持たれましたか？ぜひコメント欄で意見や感想をお聞かせください。チャンネル登録やグッドボタンをしていただけると励みになります。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。